When you hold a smartphone, your interaction with the glass surface, the taps, the swipes, the physical click of a button, is widely viewed as the entirety of the digital experience. Many creators build their products under this exact assumption. They obsess over the arrangement of pixels and the layout of menus, instead focusing on what their users are doing with their hands rather than what they are doing with their minds. To see why that focus is misplaced, we can look at the first chapter of John Whalen's book, Designed for How People Think. Whalen, a cognitive scientist, points out a reality of human biology. What you perceive as a single, simple moment of consciousness is actually the simultaneous firing of hundreds of complex cognitive processes. If a development team only builds for the physical click, they are ignoring all of that underlying cognitive machinery. This narrow focus on the interface effectively guarantees product failure. Let's look at how this plays out in a real scenario. Imagine a customer browsing a furniture website, trying to buy this specific vintage Eames lounge chair. If we were to freeze time at the exact moment this customer lands on the digital product page, we can use a framework Whalen calls the 6 minds of experience. This diagram visualizes those hundreds of cognitive processes by grouping them into 6 core systems operating beneath the surface of that single digital interaction. By mapping these 6 hidden dimensions, we can see the invisible psychological forces deciding whether this customer actually buys the chair or simply closes the tab. Starting with the green section of this model, the first mind is vision and attention. This governs what the user's eyes are subconsciously hunting for on the screen. In our frozen moment, this customer's eyes might be darting across the top right corner of the page, searching for a save for later icon they expect to be there. The yellow section represents wayfinding. This is how the brain conceptualizes movement and orientation through a digital space, much like navigating a physical store. If our user tries to zoom in on the texture of the leather chair and the page layout suddenly shifts, they lose their spatial bearings and get disoriented. Moving to the pink section, we have language. The specific vocabulary a user employs reveals their internal level of expertise and expectations. A novice might just be looking for a black chair, but our user is searching for an Eames mid-century lounge chair. That specific language indicates they expect a high level of sophistication from the retailer. The user isn't a passive viewer. Their brain is actively trying to survive and find logical order in an environment they expect to make sense. As we move deeper into the blue section, we hit memory. Users carry past digital schemas with them, projecting the roles of other websites onto yours. If they click on the image of the Eames chair expecting a pop-up gallery to appear, it's likely because their memory has been trained by years of shopping on Amazon. The red section is decision-making. This tracks internal negotiations, the way a problem is framed, and the friction points preventing an action. Here, the user might pause to wonder if the checkout system will accept PayPal before they commit to adding the item to their cart. Finally, the light blue section maps emotion. This encompasses the user's underlying anxieties and their ultimate aspirational goals. Our buyer exists in a dual emotional state. They have a tangible fear that a $5,000 piece of furniture might arrive damaged. At the same time, they possess a deep desire for this chair to signal their status as a senior VP. Even a functional interface will fail if it violates the hidden rules established by these deeper memory and emotional layers. How do designers and product managers gather this internal data without a PhD in psychology? The solution is conducting contextual interviews. This requires getting out of the building and observing users interacting with products in their actual real-world moments, rather than relying on flawed focus group memories. To synthesize field research, teams map observations onto a board categorized by the 6 minds. Exploring the emotion column reveals clear psychographic profiles, like spotting multiple users harboring anxiety about being burned by a return policy. This investigative method converts hundreds of subjective observations into a structured map for the design process. When you map the 6 minds of your audience, you stop thinking about design as a series of static screens. Whalen calls the new objective empathy on multiple levels. This approach requires creators to build experiences that simultaneously appeal to a user's attention, enhance their spatial memory, and align with their emotional goals. By shifting our focus from the glass screen to the architecture of the mind, we can build products that feel intuitive because they mirror the cognitive systems we use daily.